Hey patrons from around the world, welcome to the IR4 podcast. Hope you're doing absolutely sensational. It's me, Newsome. This is the guy, Brian Masterson. We're going to be pumping out some great content for you this week as our interview with Sean Bennett. It's going to be happening again, and then next week we got a pilot, and it's going to be some sensational stuff. So make sure you keep posted, tell your friends. This is probably one of the better, if not the best, cryptocurrency podcast, also that deals with futurism, the future, blockchain technology, quantum technology, cryptocurrencies, entrepreneurship, fundraising, nanotechnology, 3D printing, so much more. So first of all, this is going to be a free review for all of the people out there in the world who want to look at some of the cryptos. So right now, this is an equity, that's Amazon. So let's go look at Big Daddy Bitcoin, BTC USD, and what's interesting right now is, again, we are still accumulating on Bitcoin. So I have three price levels that I would like to buy if we get down there. What's interesting right now on Bitcoin is, as you can see, this red line is a trend line showing an obvious set of lower highs, which means that we are right now, without question, in a bear market on Bitcoin. The challenge is just simply going to be how long does it last, how long does the accumulation take place, and what happens from there. Usually, and more than likely, as we keep making lower lows and lower highs, we're probably going to end up getting something like this potentially, or we end up chopping around and go a little bit higher. That's what a lot of models are looking at, what a lot of people are considering, and it makes a lot of sense to me for us to do something like that. Now, we could do something entirely different, where we just start skyrocketing. I mean, that's always plausible. But for that to happen, I would imagine that we're going to need some type of news or something really exciting to come out on the future of Bitcoin. Here's the weekly chart, and we do have a new weekly candle. We did close below the 50 EMA on the weekly for the first time, if ever, I believe. And we're retesting it right now. So it makes sense to me for us to actually roll over from here and go a little bit lower. Not saying we will for sure, but more than likely. So I'm not buying at this exact spot. I'll look for our Bitcoin to potentially trade down a little bit lower. If it doesn't, that's fine. I would love it to start breaking out of that trend line, but it's going to take some time for it to do so. So really, realistically, I'll still be updating everyone. We'll still be looking for some good trades. Obviously, if you're an active trader, you can still make some good plays on a 15-minute time frame. You had this really nice move right here, good resistance, good little pop out. This is just really overnight. Nice little breakout from 71 to 7,400. So just a quick move right there for anyone who is trading it kind of actively. That was a nice little breakout on Bitcoin just on the shorter term. But realistically, it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens here. Nice trend. I still think it makes a lot of sense for it to continue doing what it's doing, just from a trend level, right? Nothing can go up this dramatically, this quickly, and not have some type of rest. Just trends, that's the way they work. So anyway, that's my thoughts on Bitcoin. Ethereum, one of the weakest ones out there right now, looking pretty weak, but trading to a very strong level. Very interesting level, and I'm super pumped to see if we actually bounce off of here. The crazy part is, Ethereum is right now at the exact same price that I bought it and really loaded up on it very heavily when it broke out back in whenever this was, late October. So it's back here again. So traders are going to get an opportunity to try it one more time. Now the question is, of course, will it just be as easy as trading down to this support and bouncing? That's the thing, is we never know. When it comes to stocks, when it comes to options, equities, bonds, gold, silver, digital assets, we just do not know ever on anything if it actually is going to bounce here. The only way you know is to either be in or to not be in and wait. And then if you wait and it bounces, you missed it. The question is, you could always load up here and have a stop, a pretty nice tight stop. You can start buying some softly and then have some positions as it goes to go lower. The challenge is, this is a really key level, and you could at least consider buying some down here, which I did do on Ethereum, and let's see what happens, right? Give it a few more days. It's at a very, very key level. Again, this thing has only been around for we're coming up on almost 2 years. So very, very new in the space. Let it chop around, let it accumulate down here. just like most trends, just like most stocks, there can be a period where things get very boring without it doing much at all. And we could just hang out down here. People forget about the coolness. They forget about the technology. They stop worrying about it. They stop caring about it. And then eventually something like this happens. I mean, that's entirely plausible, possible, makes sense to me. I think it probably will end up occurring that way. And, time will tell. Here's Litecoin. So Litecoin, a little bit of the stronger ones actually. So Litecoin, of the other coins, technically at this point the strongest, because it has not, I shouldn't say all of the coins, but it has not broken the 50 EMA. So the 50 exponential on the weekly chart is that green line right there. And we just trade down to that. We're working on bouncing. We did break below the 200 simple on the daily for the first time, which wasn't wonderful, at least for Litecoin. But again, I think short term, I could see some pretty reasonable expectations. We trade up to here, roll back down, chop around, then again, eventually either break higher or break lower. I mean, we could break lower. As crazy as it sounds, I don't have to be, just there has to be both sides of the fence, right? We could go up, we could go down, and we'll just have to see. I mean, time will tell. And unfortunately, there will be some coins that will slowly evaporate. There will be some platforms like BitConnect that slowly evaporate, thankfully. And, the big players are going to stand out. So it just depends on which ones can last through this bear market. Here is Dash. So let's go look at Dash USD on Kraken. That's up 7% today. So Dash getting a little bit of a bounce, looks pretty good. Some decent support down here as far as just where we've been before. That's really about it. We broke a really strong level here with these two candles. That was almost a tweezer bottom. So breaking below that really wasn't that great on Dash by any means, but it was a strong level. Here's the weekly. So as far as all moving averages are concerned, Dash is just kind of on its own. There's nothing really down here for Dash to hold it up other than some just general candles and some general price action, right? Where we were back around this price back in September before we had our massive, giant shoot up higher. So Dash only being around for about a year. If you go back to May, I mean, we're coming up on a year anniversary pretty soon here for when it hit Kraken at least. And yeah, that's my thoughts on Dash. Really good support. Is it going to bounce down here? I mean, short term, you can play it. Long term, there's not really much holding it up. It still looks like lower lows and lower highs to me. But if you're averaging, if you're buying low, selling high, this is not expensive price down here at 333. So just something to kind of keep in mind. Here's Monero. So Monero dollar on Bitfinex. This one actually also, as far as strength goes, relatively strong. I put it in the camp with Litecoin. Hasn't really broken or made lower lows. You got a really nice resistance here, some support, and we haven't really broken that, which is interesting. So Monero holding itself up pretty nicely, which is good. Again, a lot of these coins are going to have to prove themselves and make sure and verify that they can survive. Stellar Lumens did pull back to a relatively solid low and getting some bounces. So this is Stellar US dollar. Trade down, trade higher, traded back down, and really is working on bouncing some at these levels. So we didn't hit the 100, but this is a key support, and Stellar, probably one of my favorite coins, more or less because it's underrated, underused, underknown about. Is that a term? So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what we got on Stellar. It looks like a decent place to start accumulating. If you look at Stellar XBT over here on Kraken, I would love to buy some off the 200. Didn't quite get down there, but it did actually make a higher high and higher low just the other day. So that's kind of an interesting fact, and it could always pull back and get a little bit of a buying opportunity. And here's the last one, EOS. So we can look at the EOS dollar on Bitfinex, and again, it's actually hanging, chilling, nice and cute right here on the 200, which is a big deal because we did have a pennant pattern just the other day. We broke out of that bearish, right? So I'm sure some people sold or tried to go bearish if possible, and now we're sitting at the 200, a little bit of a morning star forming right here with a lot of potential upside to go on EOS US dollar. I like the support. Nice little support level right about there. So we'll see if this one gets an opportunity to bounce. Looks good, looks fresh. I like it, and to be interested to see exactly what happens from here. So that's my review. Every single Tuesday, I like to throw out some coin market reviews for all of you entirely for free. If you're here watching it on YouTube, thank you so much for being a supporter. Make sure to go ahead and subscribe to our IR4 podcast. We got 44 patrons at $221 a month, trying to get to $500 a month so we can buy some really cool video equipment, do a lot of just next level stuff for you folks, creating brainwaves, enriching lives, furthering the education of the space, and just making people think differently, right? The quality of your life is often deterred by the quality of your questions, and we love to ask great questions on the IR4 podcast. I think that's about it. So yeah, every Tuesday, let me know what you want to look at. I'd be happy to make some reviews for each and every one of you. Before I go, I'll look at Ripple, because I looked at Ripple, but I'll look at it again. Here's Ripple US dollar on Kraken. And again, this one to me looks like it's in a free fall, breaking all supports, and I would really look to buy some at 37 cents and then 15 cents, which would be just astronomically low compared to where it was. But, this is a really key level. We broke the key level, and I'm just interested to see exactly how we play out, right? There's a good support, very good support, and we broke that. So it seems to me like we're going to break down and roll even farther. So if you are buying any coin that broke one of its major supports, do so very softly, and then look at or plan to get in a little bit lower, because I think you're going to have that opportunity or that chance. So just have your orders ready just in case. If you're tiptoeing in here softly or slightly, that makes sense. But if you're really ready to load the gun with the dry powder, I think you can do so at a lower price and on a lot of these coins, and just buy low, sell high, right? All right, folks, you guys rock. I'll see you next Tuesday. And of course, if you want to subscribe to the podcast, I'll see you Thursday and then Saturday. All right, bye.